Welcome to Food Share. I know some of you have been here before, but for those of you that haven't, we are the food bank for Hartford and Talon County. My name is Jason Jakubowski. I am the president and CEO of Food Share, and it's an honor to have this august crowd here with us today to talk about something that that is very important, not just to Food Share, but to many nonprofits around the state of Connecticut. I could tell you that one of the great blessings that we have here at Food Share is that we've had partnerships, not just with the state of Connecticut, but with the federal government. We have had a number of AmeriCorps Vistas over the years. And the idea that the state of Connecticut and the Nonprofit Alliance and the Hartford Foundation are stepping up to really give us a Connecticut version of this of the Vista program. It's terrific, and so many of us nonprofits here in Connecticut could not do what we do without the help and support of programs like that. The cost of labor tends to be very extensive, but we like the fact that we're able to do what we can while giving people real life experience that then they can go on and do other things with. I've said this before about our Vistas here at Food Share. When they leave, they're still a part of our family, and they have gone on to do some really, really impressive things. So this is a program that we're very happy to support. We look forward to benefiting from it in the months ahead, and we have a number of speakers here today that want to say a few words. We'll start with my good friend and fellow New Britanite, John Carl Casa. He's the CEO of the Nonprofit Alliance. John Carl.
Thank you, Jason. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. And special thanks to the folks here who made this possible. Jay Williams from the Hartford Foundation, Tim Larson of Surf, Connecticut, and especially the governor. This was his idea. And we at the Alliance are glad to be able to put this to bring this to fruition. This is the first time I've really been out. I've been able to work from home for the last 3 months. But people who work on the front lines for community nonprofits haven't had that same luxury. While we've been sheltering in place, they've been providing food to people who are hungry. They've been providing shelter to people who are without roofs. And they've been providing counseling and care for people who have needed it as the needs have grown. And they've been doing all this under difficult circumstances at the time of increasing demand and limited resources, including fewer volunteers. Now, this program we think is very exciting for several reasons. One is it provides jobs for young people at a time of high unemployment. Secondly, it helps community nonprofits meet their missions. And thirdly, it helps people who depend on those nonprofits for their essential needs. And the fourth thing that I think is really remarkable about this new program is that it gives us the opportunity to be a model. That once again, Connecticut would be a leadership state in showing the rest of the country how to attack a problem that we're all facing and how to take the lead on it. We hope that Connecticut is going to be that kind of model for people around the country. The program director who is coming on board to lead it is Allison Fisher. I worked with her in state government, and I can tell you that we at the Alliance are confident in her and in the program that this is going to be a great success. So thank you again all for coming, and I think I'm turning it back to Jason.
Thanks, John Carl. As we said, the Connecticut program is heavily modeled after the AmeriCorps Vista program that the federal government has had for many years. And I'm happy to introduce Cody Wayton to all of you. Cody is one of our AmeriCorps Vistas here at Food Share. They are in their second year of being a Vista. And I mentioned this to the governor before, since we are still in the middle of this COVID crisis, and people are always asking what is the real effect on families here in Connecticut. Cody and Laura Roberts and their amazing team of volunteers have been working day in, day out in order to sign families up for SNAP services. And here's an interesting statistic. Since COVID began 3 months ago, we have signed up more families for SNAP than we did in all of last year combined. So that kind of gives you an idea in terms of not only how hard these folks are working, but just how difficult it is out there. So here to tell you a little bit about their experience with AmeriCorps Vista is Cody. Come on up.
Hello. Hello, I'm Cody. I'm an AmeriCorps Vista member. I'm with FoodShare now. I was with Connecticut Food Bank before that. I've been a Vista member for the last 2 years. At FoodShare, I work with the SNAP Outreach Department to build capacity and help people apply for SNAP benefits. Being a part of Vista means a lot to me. It gave me the opportunity to work in a nonprofit and also build professional development, and at the same time giving back to my community and our community. So since COVID began, like Jason said, we began to see a higher need, and that having me there as already a part of being already a Vista member there, I think helped with the switch over to doing phone applications. Before that, we were doing in person, and being able to switch that quicker because there was another person there. And I believe that continuing these AmeriCorps programs help get back to the community, and that it's very important in giving people an opportunity to serve and get professional development.
Thank you, Cody. Next, we have my friend Jay Williams, who's the CEO of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, and I'll say two things about Jay and the Hartford Foundation. One is that it should not be lost that so many of us nonprofits here in Central Connecticut could not be doing what we're doing at this time if it weren't for the Hartford Foundation. And for their financial and moral support for our work. They were among the very, very first to support us, and we wouldn't be able to do the distributions that we're doing, not just out in the community, but up at Rentschler Field. So, Jay, thank you to you and your team for that. The second thing I'll say about Jay is that we started our jobs on the same day. We went through Leadership Greater Hartford's executive orientation program together, and 3 years later, we're still here. So we must be doing something halfway right. So, Jay Williams, ladies and gentlemen.
Jason, thank you for your leadership and being such a true friend, and thank you to all of the stakeholders and partners and volunteers who are here today to recognize and really celebrate this program. This initiative is really the essence of why we exist as a community foundation. It's about partnerships, it's about collaboration, it's what gets us up eager every day to try to ensure that the resources that we are afforded by our donors are distributed to community in meaningful and impactful ways, particularly when we are all still in the midst of the greatest crisis, hopefully, that we will all experience in our lifetime, to build the capacity of our nonprofits. Those nonprofits, as was referred to earlier by John Carl, who are out on the front lines. You know, there are many of us who have what I will call the luxury of working from home from a safe distance, but there are those organizations and individuals who are out literally on the front lines providing the basic human needs to our citizens who are most impacted, who are most in need. And for that, we are eternally grateful. Our partnership is about providing those resources to not only build the capacity of the nonprofits, but as was also referred to, provide opportunities for our young people to connect to their communities in meaningful ways, to be gainfully employed, to get skills and talent and experience that will last them for a lifetime. We are particularly interested in making sure that the recruitment of the nonprofits, organizations, the recruitment of the volunteers are reflective of the makeup of this community. We want to be very intentional to make sure that young people of color, young people who are disaffected and disconnected, have an opportunity to engage and contribute to their communities even in the midst of this crisis. Those nonprofit organizations who will be working with the Hartford Foundation staff to continue to make sure that they've got the resources that they need, we're also excited about that. So again, we are appreciative of our donors, without whom we would not have the resources to be part of this community, to be a part of projects like this, and for those that are most disproportionately and adversely impacted in this crisis, ensuring that they have an opportunity to benefit from a program like this is of the utmost importance to us. So we're humbled and pleased to be a part of it. And again, thank you all for everything that you've done, and Governor, for your leadership in leading this state through this crisis in the way that you and your administration have done. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Jay. I noticed my friend Representative Bobby Gibson here. Bobby does a great job representing us in this district. Thank you for all of your support. Our Deputy Secretary of the State, Scott Bates, he's been mailing out absentee ballot applications for the last several days, I'm sure. From the Office of Higher Education, I know we have the pride of East Hartford, my buddy Timmy Larson. Good to see you, Tim. People didn't know who you were with the mask on, and many thanks to Lisa Tepper Bates for putting this together. And Lisa and I have worked very closely over the last several months on the broader response that the state of Connecticut has had to this COVID crisis. And this is definitely your baby. So we're really happy that you allowed us to be a part of it. I want to introduce Jackie Johnson. Jackie is the Executive Director of the Connecticut Commission on Community Service and housed over at the Connecticut Office of Higher Education. So Jackie, why don't you come on up?
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank Governor Lamont for giving us the opportunity to really show the state how AmeriCorps has been a powerful resource when it speaks to meeting the demand when volunteers aren't necessarily readily available. AmeriCorps is a program that's funded through Serve Connecticut, which is housed at the Office of Higher Education. It has been in operation since 1994. Our role is to look for nonprofits that need AmeriCorps members to do direct volunteer service to meet a particular demand. In light of the COVID crisis, clearly there's a huge demand for AmeriCorps volunteers. And so when Lisa contacted our office to say, we'd like to come up with a strategy that will address particularly nonprofits in our state and looking at food security, looking at domestic violence shelters, looking at ways that we need to find volunteers to replace those seniors who typically on a Tuesday or a Thursday would show up to do the volunteer service who are now at home. How do we make sure we still meet that demand? And so working with Lisa's team, as well as the team from the Alliance, we are so thrilled to be able to fund this Connecticut program. We anticipate that it will be a national model. The program that has been proposed has all the markings of something that will be incredibly successful and other states will want to mimic. I want to also mention about the AmeriCorps members. It's a win-win for all. AmeriCorps members, at the completion of their term of service, they earn an education award that they will use for college tuition. They can use that education award to pay back student loans, and depending on the hours that they serve, it's prorated, but a full-time commitment, you receive almost $6,000 in an education award. So that's a win, particularly if you decide to use your education award at one of our wonderful institutions here in Connecticut. So just to sum up, I would like for the AmeriCorps members that are here, I just want to say the last words of the pledge that they take in the beginning of their term of service. So if I could have the AmeriCorps members just quickly raise your hand. We're going to repeat after me the last line of your oath, which is, I am an AmeriCorps member, and I will get things done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you for all your work here in Connecticut. Finally, we were walking around inside, and the governor said he could probably lead the tour here because he's been here so many times, and that is very accurate. Governor Lamont is a great friend to Connecticut. I hope he's a great friend to Connecticut. You're the governor so anyway, he's a great friend to Food Share. Connecticut Food Bank, and all of our other nonprofits here in central Connecticut that have been working through this crisis. I will say this, the governor has been personally supportive of the things that we do, not just during this crisis, where he has handed out onions and potatoes at Rentschler Field, but also during what we would call normal times as well. The governor is out here at Thanksgiving time donating turkeys and other groceries for friends in need. So without further ado, the governor of our great state, Ned Lamont.
Thanks, Jason. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I enjoy handing out. I mean, it's amazing what you do. I mean, 1,500 cars, I think, lined up every day at Rentschler Field. That's one of the things that people here remember every day when it comes to this pandemic. First of all, I got to say, I look around, thank you to each and every one of you wearing this mask. We look around the rest of the country, you see the flare-ups, you heard what's happening in some of the southern states where people are not taking the mask as seriously. Here we are in Connecticut, and thankfully, we continue to have a lower infection rate. But as you've heard, that's just part of the battle. We have a lot of people really in need right now, and that's what this partnership is all about. And yeah, I was just talking to Lisa Tepper Bates, I don't know, just a few months ago, and I said, I remember AmeriCorps, how come there's not a Connecticut Corps? How come we can't do this? We got a lot of young people who have been, you know, sidelined for a while, and if we could get them back to work. And talking to Jason and Food Share and Food Bank, and you all reminded me, a lot of the volunteers you have are a little older, and some of them, you know, we generally ask to stay safe, stay home, and all of a sudden you start seeing, all right, there's something that ought to get done. And we've got some young people who need the work, who have the heart to get this going. We have the real need here. Giancarlo can tell you, of all of our not-for-profits, a lot of them have this need right now as well. And then you say, well, how do we do it? The state's, you know, fiscally stretched a little bit. And Jay steps up with the foundation, says with incredible generosity, as the Hartford Foundation does over and over, making a difference. And coming up with the seed money we need to do this. And then we have AmeriCorps and the federal money, so we're able to leverage this going forward. So we have the brain power, the resources, we have the young people able to get this all done, filling an incredible need, an amazing need that's going to continue for a while, and I get to announce it. And for that, I got to say, I'm so thankful to each and every one of you for taking the initiative and making this happen. A lot of ideas don't go anywhere. This went somewhere, and I think we ought to be able to extend this far and wide, leverage what Jay's been doing with other amazing contributors around the state, and see if we can continue to get our young people back to work. And later on this afternoon, you'll be hearing about how we get them back to school. Thank you, everybody.
Can we ask a few questions? Like, Jackie, can you give us an overview, like how much money's involved, how many people are how many young people are part of the program? You know.
For Connecticut Corps, the proposed program, there will be 80 AmeriCorps members that will be serving across 10 nonprofits. In total, that'll be about 90,000 hours worth of volunteer hours. And the Alliance is in the midst now of recruiting those AmeriCorps members. I'm excited because many of those members are probably college graduates who are wondering, now what do I do? What my plans were supposed to be have changed quite a bit because of COVID. And so having this opportunity to serve and at the same time earn some money for college tuition or to pay back loans, I think is an incredible opportunity.
And what's the budget for it?
The budget, including federal money and the match, is about $800,000 for this program.
What's the federal side of that?
The federal side is about $450,000.
And how much has the foundation put in?
The foundation's match is $400,000.
And so there's another 50,000 coming from where to make 900,000? Am I adding it wrong?
The federal, I'm sorry, the federal share will be 450,000. The foundation, the Hartford Foundation, I think they've committed to 200,000, and then the difference will be through other match sources that the Alliance is looking for.
And then this will be, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
This will be for how long? How long is this program?
This is for a 3-year grant, but the budget is for 1 year. So they will reapply for year 2 and year 3, and presumably for the same amount of money, if not more.
And again, how many people will be able to get jobs under this program?
80.
And
It's reduced full time. So it's about 1,200 hours for the majority of the members that'll be serving, and then part time, about 20 members will be serving part time, which is about 900 hours worth of work.
is there state money involved also or not?
There is not state money, it's a complete federal grant.
Is there a flat hourly rate, or what is the?
It is a stipend, so it's not as we would call a paycheck, or this is how much I make per hour. You receive a livable stipend. So at the end of the year, you will have earned a total stipend. I don't remember what the exact number is that they plan to pay their members, but there is somewhat of a living allowance.
What's a ballpark figure?
I'd say about 13,000 is what they will be paying their members. 10,000. Okay, 10,000.
And that's for the equivalent of, I mean, how many hours a week are we talking there?
About 30 hours a week for the ones that are doing 1,200 hours over the course of a year, and about 20 hours a week for those that were doing about 900 hours over the course of the year. So remember, the AmeriCorps members are volunteers, so they're not necessarily meant to be getting a salary like you would think of if you were employed to do work. So the stipend is really just an opportunity to make sure that they can meet some minimum needs, as they may need to buy food or pay rent or those sorts of things.
And then above that, there is an additional financial benefit for education?
Correct. So once they've successfully completed their term of service, then they earn that education award that goes directly to the student loan that they'd like to contribute those dollars towards.
Could you
Or-
repeat that? I'm sorry.
That's fine. The money that they receive, the education award that they receive, goes directly to the school for tuition. If they say, I'm going to go to UConn, I'd like my money to go there. Or if they have a student loan, that money will go directly to the student loan that they direct the payoff to be.
And for people who are interested in applying for doing some of these, how do you apply for these?
The Alliance, I believe, is setting up a recruitment site so that people that are interested in becoming members would be able to contact the Alliance, and then they would go through their screening process.
We know that Food Share is obviously involved. What are some of the other organizations, or at least types of organizations?
There are many organizations throughout the state of Connecticut. It varies from year to year. Currently, we have 9 AmeriCorps programs that are serving across the state. One is housed at RIASAP, which is the Regional Youth Adult Substance Awareness Project in Bridgeport. Teach for America, which also has locations in Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport. They are an AmeriCorps program. There is Food Corps, which is a program that's based out east. They have AmeriCorps members. We have AmeriCorps members out in the Cheshire, Waterbury area. It's the AHEC, which stands for the Alliance of Health, Education, and I forgot what the C stands for. So we do have various programs throughout the state that serve AmeriCorps members. We have in total about 600 across the state AmeriCorps members.
Sean Carl, do you have a portal set up for people to apply yet? How's that going to work?
We're in the process of setting that up. I think what we want to do first is we want to get the sites to let us know what they need in terms of these volunteers, and once we do that, we'll go out and we'll seek the volunteers. Allison is already up and trying to get that stuff running.
So when do you anticipate people actually
August 1st. The program starts on August 1st. So we got a couple months head start on it. Gives us the opportunity to find folks. I don't think we're going to have a problem either getting organizations that need the help, because we know that need is out there, nor do I think we're going to have a problem finding people who want to participate. The state has its volunteer portal, and I think they've got, like 1,300 people, have 2,000 people have gone through that. So, we know there's a need. We know there are people willing to help out. We're trying to put them together.
Thank you, everybody.
Good, thank you all.
Timmy, you want a picture? Real quick. Jackie?